Iwo Jima, the fiercest battle of World War II? The morning of February 19, 1945, was unlike any other in the Pacific theater of World War II. Thousands of U.S. Marines sat tightly packed in landing crafts, the thundering roar of naval bombardments pounding the black volcanic shores of Iwo Jima in the distance. Nerves were taut, breaths shallow, as these men prepared to step into a nightmare that would cement itself as one of the costliest battles in human history. Iwo Jima, a small speck of volcanic rock in the vast Pacific Ocean, was about to become the stage for an epic clash of wills. This wasn't just a battle for a piece of land. It was a test of endurance, resilience, and sacrifice. But the looming question remains: was the Battle of Iwo Jima the fiercest battle of World War II? Let us pull apart the story, moment by moment, to honor the warriors who shaped this historic event. From the outside, Iwo Jima seemed insignificant, a 5-mile-long stretch of rough volcanic terrain. But for the Allies, it was a critical stepping stone on the path to Japan. The island housed airfields that could serve as a staging ground for bombing raids over the Japanese mainland and facilitate emergency landings for damaged American bombers. For Japan, Iwo Jima was not just a piece of land. It was a shield against the advancing tide of American forces. The island's defense was paramount, and the Japanese military prepared accordingly. Beneath its black sand lay a labyrinth of tunnels and bunkers, making Iwo Jima a virtual fortress unlike anything the Allies had ever faced. The American military command spent months planning for this operation, codenamed Operation Detachment. With intelligence reports suggesting only around 12,000 Japanese defenders on the island, confidence was high. After all, this was supposed to take no more than a few days. But the truth was far grimmer. Unknown to the Americans, nearly 21,000 Japanese soldiers awaited them, led by Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kuribayashi. Far from planning a conventional defense, Kuribayashi had orchestrated a plan to fight to the very last man. His soldiers were entrenched in over 11 miles of tunnels, invisible from the surface. For them, there would be no retreat, only death. As the preparatory naval bombardments intensified, Japanese forces simply waited. And when the smoke cleared and the first wave of Marines approached the beaches on D-Day, they found what looked like a deserted island. But beneath that ominous calm lay the seeds of chaos. By the time the first landing crafts reached the volcanic sands at 8:59 a.m., tension hung heavy in the air. The surreal black terrain clung to the boots of the Marines as they disembarked, their eyes scanning the quiet surroundings. Would this be an easy fight, after all? That hope was shattered within moments. General Kuribayashi's strategy became brutally clear as unseen Japanese defenders unleashed an onslaught of firepower. Waves of machine gun fire, artillery, and mortars rained down on the Americans, transforming the beaches into a killing field. The Marines tried to return fire, but the enemy was invisible, hanging back in hidden bunkers and tunnels beneath their very boots. Men fell by the dozens, their dreams of glory replaced by a desperate fight for survival. The treacherous terrain offered no shelter. It was as if the earth itself was their enemy. As the battle intensified, Iwo Jima devolved into a scene of unimaginable carnage. The U.S. forces, determined to capture the island, advanced yard by yard, often at the cost of dozens of lives for mere meters gained. For many Marines, flamethrowers became the weapon of choice, flushing Japanese soldiers out of their fortified positions when no other efforts broke through. The Japanese defenders, bound by duty and loyalty, fought with unparalleled ferocity. Their orders were clear: inflict as much damage as possible before falling. Surrender was not an option. This refusal to yield turned every inch of Iwo Jima into a battlefield of attrition. Close-quarters combat was unavoidable. Dark tunnels became the stage for vicious hand-to-hand fights, with grenades and bayonets determining who would emerge alive. Every Marine who set foot on that volcanic rock understood that the stakes went beyond survival. They were fighting for their brothers, their freedom, and their belief in a cause larger than themselves. One of the most pivotal moments in the battle was the fight for Mount Suribachi, a dormant volcano towering 554 feet above the battlefield. From its peak, the Japanese had a perfect vantage point to unleash artillery and machine gun fire with devastating precision. The battle for Suribachi was grueling, forcing the Marines into a deadly uphill advance. The defenders made every step a blood-soaked challenge. On the fifth day of combat, U.S. Marines finally reached the summit. What happened next was a moment that the world would never forget. At 10:20 a.m. on February 23, 1945, 6 Marines raised the stars and stripes atop Mount Suribachi. It was more than a military achievement. It was a symbol of resilience, hope, and unity in the face of overwhelming odds. The image, captured by photographer Joe Rosenthal, became one of the most iconic photographs of World War II, immortalizing the sacrifices made on that volcanic rock. While the flag raising became a symbol of triumph, the Battle of Iwo Jima was far from over. Mount Suribachi was merely one piece of the island. Some of the fiercest fighting unfolded in the following weeks, as the Marines pushed northward into areas rife with bunkers, traps, and underground defenses. Tadamichi Kuribayashi's strategy of prolonging the conflict to inflict maximum damage succeeded more than anyone expected. The casualty figures soared. Over 26,000 Americans were wounded, with 6,800 of them killed in action. The Japanese suffered nearly complete annihilation, over 20,000 killed and fewer than 1,000 captured. Each hill captured, every yard of territory gained seemed soaked in blood. The battle dragged on for 36 harrowing days before the island was finally secured. As the smoke cleared and the guns fell silent, the cost of Iwo Jima revealed itself. The island had been taken, but at a staggering price. For both sides, this small rock in the Pacific represented a microcosm of the larger war, defined by unimaginable sacrifice, the unyielding will to persevere, and the haunting reality of war's human toll. Iwo Jima became the symbol of the U.S. Marines' motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Out of the battle's horrors emerged stories of incredible heroism, brotherhood, and determination that continue to inspire generations. For Japan, the loss of Iwo Jima foreshadowed the devastating defeats yet to come. It marked the beginning of the end, paving the way for the Allied invasion of Okinawa and, eventually, Japan's surrender. The Battle of Iwo Jima is a story of 2 nations, 2 cultures, and thousands of individuals bound together in a struggle that tested the limits of human endurance. For the Marines who stormed its beaches and the Japanese who vowed to fight to their last breath, Iwo Jima was more than a battle. It was a testament to the heights of courage and the depths of sacrifice. As we honor their memory, one question lingers. Was Iwo Jima the fiercest battle of World War II? While history may never offer a definitive answer, one thing is clear. This battle stands as a stark reminder of the cost of freedom and the indomitable will to fight for it, no matter the odds. History deserves to be remembered, and the stories of those who fought on Iwo Jima deserve to be told. If you were moved by the bravery and sacrifice of the men in this battle, take a moment to honor them. Like this video, share it with others, and leave a comment about what resonated most with you. And don't let this story be the last you hear about forgotten moments in history. Subscribe to Lexopedia for more deep dives into heroic, tragic, and transformative events. Let's keep these stories alive, for they are the foundation of who we are today. Stay faithful to remembering the past,